Hello, folks, and welcome to another fine edition of Pole Position Racing. Today on Assetto Corsa Competizioni. I am your host, Best Teon. Joined by no one today. It's solo dolo, but we are in for a very exciting afternoon of racing for wherever you are in the world. Today we are live from the historic Brands Hatch Circuit in the United Kingdom. Let me run you through just a couple of things here. Fill you guys in on all we got in store today. Brands Hatch, located in Kent, the United Kingdom. Today's format will be 2 sprint races of about 20 minutes apiece, so a lot of overtaking will be happening around the field. 9 turns. It's a pretty simple track. It's also a short track. Circuit length only 4.2 kilometers or 2.4 miles. So it's a quick lap around here. Lap record is 1 minute 12, held by A. Carp. Excuse me, folks, that's a typo. It's A. Carroll. He set that in a Ferrari, I believe. But taking a look at the track, there you have some of your classic turns. Druids down to Surtees. You've got Pilgrim's Drop. Another popular place, the Clark Curve and the Brabham Straight. Probably one of the coolest overtaking opportunities on any circuit. Bit of a banking there. A lot of great elevation change. This is a track that really does throw you a lot of twists and turns, literally. And I think our drivers will be up for the challenge. So let's run you through, you guys, one more time. This season, I've been kind of bringing you a little information on Formula 1 versus GT3 since most of our viewers are Formula 1 native. This is kind of my way of bringing them into fold. We focused on Mercedes last week, and the week before that was Ferrari. This week, we're taking a look at McLaren, being a British constructor. Figured why not talk about them today. On the left, you see the MCL 34, which was it's Carlos Sainz there. That was the 6th place car in last year's championship. Shocked a lot of people. Great comeback by the Woking-based outfit. But we're going to focus just primarily on the difference between the two today, specifically how GT3 differs. GT3 cars rely on mechanical grip, while Formula 1 cars rely on aerodynamic grip. You can see from that picture there, the only aerodynamic elements really a part of that car is that big rear wing, as opposed to the Formula 1 car, built a little more like an F-18. 0 to 60 of an F1 car, 2.1 seconds. GT3 McLaren, 2.9 seconds. Top speed of an F1 car, 230 miles an hour. That's usually clocked at Mexico, Monza, or Spa. Versus a GT3 car, it's going to be 200 miles an hour or 320 kph. Weight. This is going to be the biggest difference. That GT3 car is almost double the size if you look at that comparison right there. Formula 1 cars will top out at 1,604 pounds. While the McLaren, on the other hand, is only 3,100 pounds, so a girthy boy indeed. Power plant, this is got to be the biggest difference. F1 cars run a turbo hybrid V6. That battery pack on there gives them a lot of boost. They estimate up to about 50 to 100 horsepower extra, I think, when deployed. Versus the GT3 car, the McLaren is equipped with a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8, which draws 710 horsepower. Oh, Carroll Shelby, eat your heart out. That's a fast car, folks. There you have it, folks. Quick little run through there. We're going to take just a brief intermission before we go live to the track. Just one moment while I get that all queued up for us. All right, folks, we are now live on track. Free practice is just finishing up now. There are some of our cars lounging in the sun here. You can see quite a few of our drivers from past races. Drivers today to watch, definitely keep an eye out for Portis and Sosa. Those are your championship contenders right now. They've kind of been trading back and forth all year. You can see a lot of different cars today, a lot of drivers in mid-engine vehicles. You got that 488 right there. You've got the McLaren right next to it. The rear-engine Porsche. The Porsches do tend to get a little squirrely on the exits of corners. Folks, and there we have it. Session start. In just 1 second, we are going to have a wet quali here today, folks. Very exciting stuff. Brands Hatch, of course, known for its elevation changes that will play a factor in where these drivers are turning in, where their braking points are, where they're accelerating. Luckily, though, for these guys, these cars do have traction control. There is no penalty for them using that. They can obviously turn it up or down depending on how they feel. But let's go out now. Try to on board with Brian Faluna, if I can get to his car here. Just 1 second, folks. Jay Warren leaving the pits right now as well. In the 66 marked Porsche. Is Alves getting out? Mirsky running a little wide there. Ooh, Bruce Lee's already having a little adventure with the barrier. Here we are now. Brian Faluna is one of our fastest drivers in Assetto Corsa. He's also the guy who sold me my wheels, so that's always very exciting. Sold me my CSL Elite. Thank you, Brian. It is a great... There we go. Apply, and we're back. We're now full screen, folks. Wouldn't want to ruin the experience for you too much. On board now with Brian. Treacherous conditions now. Into a downhill braking zone. Let's see now. Braking nice and earlier compared to their dry practice earlier. Lap times were set in about the 120, high 120s, early 130s. Today, you could pretty much expect to see much slower tentative driving, but that will mean overtaking will come at a price. You might even be risking your race. But then again, these are wet conditions. It is more about attrition, so risk versus reward going to be a big topic for many of these drivers today, and I'm sure their pit walls will be trying their best to feed them as much information about the track. Notable elevation changes here. You can see him flying into... Folks, you'll have to forgive me. I have to pull up a map of Brands Hatch. I am not that familiar with this track. Give me Silverstone any day of the week. I can tell you that thing backwards and forwards. But this, on the other hand, not so much. Going down the Brabham Straight now, heading toward the Paddock Hill stand before he will turn into the is it Hallwoods Hill and then Druids? Yeah, it's the hairpin right there is Druids. Then you turn right onto Graham Hill. No pun. Of course. Then the Graham Hill bend coming up. And that is the Cooser Straight. Literal Graham Hill. That's funny. The Cooper Straight. Excuse me, folks. Into Surtees. A lot of famous British names here. They've kind of stamped their mark at this track. And then he'll take this long straight here now down to Pilgrim's Drop, one of the notable elevation changes right here. You can see that almost 10%, I mean 5% grade almost. Into the Hawthorne bend. Careful here. The car will want to weight transfer you into the barrier there on the left. Now the Derek Minter straight onto the right-hander before Westfield Bend and Dingledell into Sheens. Kind of a triple right-hander of these flowing valleys right now. You're going to take this into Sterling's. Our thoughts, of course, are with the Moss family. Rest in peace to one of the greats. Bit of a left-hander there. Now you're down clearways looking for the Clark Curve. Probably my favorite turn on this track being the Clark Curve. Reminds me a lot of Interlagos with that final run along the banking to the start-finish straight. Power down here. Let's see. Time's going to be set. 142.1, folks. 142.1. And he's just gotten pipped by Carbassi. So it looks like we're going to have times in the 140s, high 130s, definitely in the 40s for most time. That's Brian, of course, with the Grip and Sip Racing team. Let's go on board now with Portis, one of our championship contenders of the Mardi Gras Racing team. Love that paint job. Still one of my favorites on the grid. Folks, you'll have to excuse if I change between British and American slang. I'm native to both, having lived in the UK for a little bit myself. You can see the cars are just kind of looking for the dry line right now, and these conditions are fairly torrential, so you're going to be looking at a lot of guys maybe taking very interesting lines, I would say. You might see maybe some karting lines open up later in the race. These cars, of course, do feel very, I guess, a little more in control in the wet than an F1 car, I'd say. Only speaking from the experience of a video game player. F1 cars in the wet are a nightmare. I hate it. It's just not my thing unless I've already got the wet setup on. But changeable conditions in GT3 cars, at least you got the traction control to help you out. You've got ABS, I think. Sorry. Anywho, though. Through Sterling's now, down to Clearways and the Clark Curve. Portis doing well. Kiss the apex there. Now the run to the line. This will begin his flyer. Oh, that was his flyer. You'll have to pardon me. P4, P5 for Portis as Shade. It's going to sneak in there. I believe that is one of the Shade brothers or cousins. I'm not entirely sure how they're related. We've got Riders in that black Lamborghini. We got Lopez out in the Bentley Continental. Yoda as well. Make sure my audio is coming in all right, folks. Just one moment. Yes, it is. Wonderful. Back to the racing. Yoda there in the Ferrari 488. Beautiful car. Really popping with that chromed paint job in the wet. With the McLaren of Forbes. Hot on his tail right now. Maybe looking for a toe in the wet? I don't think so. These two kind of getting into it. A little friendly qualifying scuffle. We got Shade coming across the line right now. I believe he is beginning his flying lap, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Sierra in the GTR, of course. Blumauer, Warren. We got Sosa getting a little... Oh, careful, Sosa. Careful on that re-entry, bud. Almost took poor Jay out of the race there. Trying to qualify. Oh, he's just spinning around again. Poor guy. Just trying to find his way through the wet here. Let's go on board with Warren now on his flyer into the drop. Let's see where he breaks. 300, 200, right before the 100-meter board, turning in, clipping that apex very nicely. Let's see where he gets the power down on the exit. Keeping it in a very high gear there. Just trying to find the traction right now. Ooh, that's going to be a little excursion there with the dirt. Dirty tires in the wet. Do not make for a good time. Can see the car really struggling for grip there. Track is drying up just a touch here. It looks like we do still have a lot of standing water, though the rainfall has subsided for the most part. Now pulling into the final sector of turns here. Let's see where he will turn in for the pit straight. Nice and early, clipping that apex well right there at the traffic cone. Now on the power in third gear. Short shift. Yep, there it is. Fourth gear. Let's see across the line. 142.6. Only good for P21, unfortunately, for the Porsche driver. Here's Sabel in the Gulf liveried Porsche classic paint job. For those of you who have a keen eye for things, love the look of that car. Sabel, I believe he has set. He's on his flyer now. Let me see if I can see what he set earlier. All right, folks, here's the timetable. Time to beat is going to be a 138.8. 138.8. Only 13 of our drivers have set a time in the session. 3 minutes to go. They will probably want to start scampering out there. There will only be time for about 2 more flyers, depending on when you want to go out. The track is drying up, so maybe some of our field are biding their time, thinking maybe I'll get my flyer in at the end of the session after a lot of these guys kind of kicked up a lot of the water. Which might not be a bad strategy, too, because the track will kind of ramp up with those warm tires, warming up the asphalt in these cold conditions. So keep an eye out for that as well. Order as we stands right now. Ooh, that's going to be looks like Sable going on a little adventure with the gravel there. Sable in P1. Up front with him will be Ruiz. Behind him, Banfi, Carbasi, Shade, Faluna, and it looks like Mirsky just got up into that top 2. Shade. Oh, and that's Bro Faluna's going to take pole now. The 138.5, finding 3 whole tenths in these treacherous conditions. Down the rest of order, we have Alves, Bruce Lee, Portis, surprisingly not really up in the fight as of now. These wet conditions are going to mess up our grid just a touch. Folks, there will be no reverse grid, by the way. I'll put that out there. It's only 2 sprint races. So just mixing things up here a little, folks. Next week, I believe we will have a 90-minute race, though, so I will hopefully be joined by some other people in the booth. Otherwise, I'll have to be talking to myself for an hour and a half. It's kind of like that one Ryan Reynolds movie where they put him in the coffin. I forgot. They give him like a BlackBerry with like 5 phone numbers on it, and he's got to escape the coffin buried underground that way. It's kind of how I feel doing 2-hour broadcasts. I jest. I like doing this. Don't worry, guys. Fastest car setting 4 or 5 lap times here. You can see the deltas there on the right. Interval still set 137.5. That is a blistering time in these conditions. Let's see here. Yoda third, Blommel, Benedict, Ginks, Warren, Sosa. Still haven't gotten those flyers in, it would seem. Maybe invalidating their times and running wide in these wet conditions. Entirely possible. Let's go back to the broadcast screen here. There we are. Ginks, the meme lord himself there. Go on board with him. Those of you who maybe are from the outside of the community looking in, Ginks is the resident meme master of Assetto Corsa for PPR. So if you're looking for somebody who's got the chuckles, it's probably Ginks. Big fan of his work, and I hope he has a good time out there today. He's racing in that Audi R8, which is one of these squirrelier cars in the lineup. It's what happens when you got a car that Iron Man used to drive, I suppose. You can see late on the brakes, he's missed that completely. Like I said, folks, you will have to adjust your braking points accordingly, or you will find yourself sliding over. Look at that, folks. The track is drying up quite a bit. Let's go on board with Ginks for his flyer. I think he's going to try to get one in here and try to make his way into the top 10. Through the Paddock Hill Bend, down Pilgrim's Rise. Let's see into the hairpin at Druids, taking that very tidy. Nice and easy through there, picking that apex very nicely. Into the Graham Hill Bend before heading down the Cooper straight to Surtees. Late apex there. Let's see. Good. Taking that one beautifully. Now for the uphill portion. It's a lot like skiing, isn't it? Heading for the Pilgrim drop. Make your stomach give a pit in your stomach. If you were doing this in real life, you could feel that negative G-force going the other way on your tummy. Through Hawthorns, Derek Minter, and the Westfield Bend for that triple right-hander now. Looking for Dingle Dell to run a little wide there. Into Sheens, taking that one nicely. Up to Sterling's. Let's see how he does here. Careful now. Use that camber to your best of your abilities. Good. That'll help the car naturally turn in for clearways before hitting the Clark curve. Track nice and sunny and dry now. All right, Ginks, make sure you get this one right, bud. And he has. Taking it a little shallow, but at least he's gotten across the line. Time to beat was 137. Ginks. Not going to make it, unfortunately. He was on a flyer there, though, folks. I must say, that was a promising lap. Apologies to Ginks for missing out on that. Session start in 2 minutes here, folks. Again, if you're just joining us, this is Pole Position Racing, Assetto Corsa Competizioni, live from Brands Hatch in the United Kingdom. I'm your host, Best Teon. On pole today is Carbassi, followed by Sosa. No surprise there. Behind them, Mirsky, Couch, Sable, Alves, Warren making his way into the top 10. Good for him. Forbes, Blumauer, and Sierra in that GTR in P10. Behind them will be Ruiz. Surprisingly, Portis not cracking the top 5 in quali. One of our fastest drivers, no doubt. Unfortunate to see him starting farther down the grid. Behind him, Brian Faluna as well. Had a very strong opening to qualifying. Couldn't quite work the time back, but this is sprint races, so plenty of time. Behind them, we've got Shade, we've got Lopez, Banfi, Riders, Bruce Lee, and bringing up the rear, is Yoda. So good to see we got some Star Wars characters joining us on the grid today. Disney, please don't sue me. 50 seconds to go, folks. Let us know in the chat where you're coming in from today. I love to always see where we've got fans. I know we've got fans in just about every corner of the globe. Go team low IQ sim. Thank you, Patel. Thank you for joining us. We've got fans in Canada. We've got fans in Singapore. I've spoken to people from Mexico. A lot of fans in Europe. I obviously GT3 cars are big over there. Here in the States, we're more into our NASCAR, which is fine, which is totally fine. We've got our IndyCar too, but GT3 is kind of a international competition with some pretty cool constructors in it. I would love to see that new mid-engine Corvette make an appearance at some point, but ultimately it's up to Detroit. That is not up to me, and you know how Detroit can be. Here we are, folks. Rolling start time. Everyone will be 2x2, just like the Ark. Storm has cleared, and we're getting things underway now. Sosa leading us off here. You can see the cars sliding around, just trying to find the grip. We'll go helicopter view here. Cars ghosting out. Obviously, there is not going to be anything really happening. All right, Carbasi leading Sosa. And we should get green flags in just a second here. There we go, folks. And we're underway now from Brands Hatch. Everyone getting a good getaway so far. 3 wide back there with the GTR. And it's wheel to wheel almost for that Mercedes and that Lexus. Into turn 2 now. Heading up the hill. Carbasi and Sosa getting a beautiful run now into Druids. That's Mursky coming, trying to poke his nose in there, trying to get alongside. But Sable's going to try to take it around the outside now with Warren. And that looks like Sierra getting into it as well. That's better. Excuse me, folks. Sosa, Carbasi leading Sosa, leading Mursky, leading Sierra. Ooh, and Sable's missed the corner. He's gone wide. Sierra's going to go up the inside there. Ooh, that's McLaren's getting all out of shape, folks. We got to pile up. That car's been turned around. Back of the field here getting very messy so far. Warren, though, slipstreaming on Sierra just in front as well. It's a Ferrari, I think, of... I can't see who that is. Let's go on board with him. That's Mursky falling down the field now. Jay very close to the back of that. Oh, and Jay's in the wall. Jay's in the wall. He's gone wide. That will cost him dearly. Sierra trying to chase down Sosa now. Mursky being chased by Alves. Carbasi getting a clean getaway. A very smooth operation indeed. And there is chaos at the back of the field from that earlier pileup. This track is drying out just a little. Folks, this is a sprint race. They only got 25 minutes to get their moves done. Nice little train forming here. Shade leading Ruiz, leading Yoda into the right-hander for the pit straight. Yoda in the slipstream in that Ferrari, looking to get past the McLaren. That's Shade to the right now. That could block his move. They're trying to go 3 wide into the right-hander. Can hear them downshift. Shade's going to run wide. Ruiz keeping it steady. That Ferrari's going to try to use that exit to his advantage, but it's not quite gone his way, as Ruiz is going to pull just a touch in front there. Jay Warren chasing down Banfi. Portis now up to P6, already doing much better in this race. On board with the helicopter cam now. That is Warren chasing down Banfi, chasing down Portis. Nice little 3-way happening right here, folks. A menage a trois, if you're French. Look for those Porsches to be grinding up those rear tires early in this race. Rear-engine cars do not like accelerating out of corners, or your tires won't like it at least. It will put a lot of stress on the rubber. Looking down the rest of the field now. Faluna in third in a bit of a battle. Oh, and they're off. Faluna's in the barrier. Third appears to have taken him clean out of the race. Couch trying to chase down Sable now. Ooh, that's Sable. He's into the barrier. Almost. He's kept it out, it would appear. That Porsche looking just a touch squirrely. Wolf's going to try to go up the inside there. It looks like he is gaining. Oh, we got a little 3-car pack happening here, folks. Blumauer behind Wolf. Benedict trying to go up the inside now. Ooh, we got Porsche on Porsche crime, folks. Let's see down the pit straight. He's going to try to take it around the outside. Benedict's going to have a look. Blumauer is just going to cover him off now. Got a break for the right-hander. Let's see if he can switch back. No, not really. He's got to get that apex first. On the exit, though, Blumauer might get held up by that GTR in front, but the Porsche has gotten a bit of a poor run as they all Constantine are up into the right-hander. That will kill his momentum down the stretch. Wolf, though, pulling away because Blumauer is trying to defend Benedict. So Wolf now free to look after third in that McLaren. Meanwhile, third trying to get past Sable. Sable falling down the pack here, rather unfortunately. Not getting the setup quite right. You can see third yanking that steering wheel, just trying to muscle that McLaren through the left-hander in the slipstream now. Let's see. It's a nice long straight here into Pilgrim Drop. Can he get a better run? Not quite. Sable's going to stay just a hair in front. Sable keeping it nice and tidy. Let's take a look at the front of the pack here, folks. Warren still chasing Banfi. Banfi still behind Portis. Mirsky behind Sosa. Sierra now up to P2, looking to get after Carbassi. Forbes is into the pits right now. Yoda's into the pits. Let's find a nice little battle for us, folks. We've got Blumauer chasing Wolf. Chasing third, chasing Sable, chasing Couch. Leading this little 5-car train. That's Shade running a bit of a lonely race. No worries. Of course, this being a, I believe it is, if it's going to clockwise track, not anti-clockwise, you will see a lot of pressure on those right front tires, especially in cars that rely so much on that mechanical grip. They will be trying to force that car through the turns quite a bit today. They will be suffering. I believe that's how that works. Ooh, nice little 3-car train. Shade now trying to chase down Benedict. 20 minutes to go in this race, folks. Your leader is still, oh, I can't see it now. What a shame. Oh, up the inside of Benedict there. Is that move going to stick? They're wheel to wheel now through the, I believe it's a double right-hander coming up. Into the Pilgrim drop now. Benedict just getting ahead of Shade there. Into the corner. Yes, he's gotten the move done. Shade will have to concede that position to the Porsche. Benedict trying to chase down Blumauer now. Couch gaining on Shade, it would seem. Into Sterling's. Run down to the Clark curve. Let's see if he can't get a good exit. Taking it nice and smooth. Look for the grip. On the power now. In that slipstream. Shade, though, getting a much better run through there. Still maintaining that gap of about a few tenths. And it's just not going to be enough for Couch to close up into the downhill right-hander of the Pilgrim's Rise. Portis leading Warren, trying to chase down Banfi. Biggest surprise of the day, I got to say. Our top 5 is not who I expected it to be at this stage. Sosa and Portis have been so consistent for the first 2 races. They seem to have that wet qualifying kind of setting them out, catching them out a bit maybe. Ooh, I think we might have something happening here, folks. Let's go on board with Jay Warren as he tries to chase down that Ferrari of Portis. Late on the brakes into the Clark curve. That looks like that's going to... Oh, he's going to go into the pits now. Early stop. I do believe there is a mandatory 1 tire change in this race today. Ah, yes, on with Forbes now as he tries to chase down Ruiz. These two got into it earlier, I believe. The McLaren counterparts, one in the papaya car, one in that baby blue car, or sky blue, depending on where you're from in the world. Soft colors can make for hard racing, though, as proven right now, as we got a trio here down the second sector of this track. Ooh, Ruiz and Blumauer are going to be side to side now, and it looks like Blumauer is going to lose out there, and he's going to lose out again. That's 2 cars going through. I do believe that was for position, so Ruiz and Forbes just kind of coasting right by the Porsche. Oh, I've misspoken. They're not even racing each other. That's not even for position. Ruiz trying to chase down Portis. Mirsky and Sosa and Carbassi. Just Carbassi way out in front of that RCF. Couldn't be bothered. Seibel and Shade. Ooh, late on the brakes in that Porsche. Shade covering him off now. Into the double right-hander. Through Dingle. Ooh, he's got a good run through Sterling now. They're side by, they're going to be wheel to wheel now, heading into the Clark curve. Let's get a bird's eye view of this one, folks. That Porsche is through. He's gotten in front of Shade. What a beautiful move. Way to get the exit out of there. And he will take that one to the bank. That will promote Sable up to P6. The perennial Super GT finishing place. Shout out to all my viewers and Ram Shadow clan members. Ooh, Portis might be feeling the heat now. Ruiz is closing up to him. Let's have a look at this. Portis just going to stay in front here. Into Surtees. Into the Pilgrim drop. Portis going very defensive there, pulling all the way to the right. Ruiz weaving left and right. Can't tell if they're maybe trying to send signals between one another that they don't want to race and they'd rather just slipstream. All right, into the Hawthorne Bend and the Derek Minter Straight. Then we're going to have the triple right-hander of Westfield, Dingle, and Sheens coming up now. Portis looking very slow. He might be thinking about a pit stop on this next time around. He's got no pace at the moment as Ruiz is going to gobble him up here momentarily. Into the Clark curve. Let's see. Late on the brakes. Taking it nice and easy through there. Yes, Portis into the pits. No shock. That will release Ruiz to chase down Portis. I believe you can see the tire usage on the left of the logo there, folks. Or maybe that's fuel. I'm not entirely sure. But Ruiz up to P4, free to chase down Mirsky. Mirsky right on the tail of Carbassi. Looks like Carbassi's just gone into the... He must have gone into the pits because now Sosa is up to P1. Great battle forming here at the front of the race, folks. That silver Ferrari looking splendid out here in the British countryside. Into the drop. Carbassi not going too defensive here. Not really worrying about the Ferrari quite yet. You're going to see he's run a touch wide there. On the exit now. Turning in. Both drivers clipping that apex nicely. Carbassi looking for any kind of grip here. Mirsky's going to gobble him up here in just a moment. Ooh, that looks like a wash of dirty air almost, but these aren't Formula One cars. Not sure what happened there. Through Sterling's. Best overtaking opportunity is going to be coming up soon. Going to get a good run through Clark Corner. Carbassi's got it all wrong through there. Into the pits. No surprise. He was looking slow as a slug. Mirsky now up to P2. He will be free to chase down Sosa here, who I believe is just a few turns in front of him. Sosa had a bit of a quiet race today. No surprise in that. No shame in that game. Quiet races are usually my favorite races. That's when I'm not getting punted into walls. Nice little battle in the middle here. We got cars. Sable is going to be battling Shade, it would look. Let's go on board now. There's blue flagged cars in front. Sorry, folks. Have to excuse my shoddy camera work. Oh, they're going to be very close there. One of the back markers just trying to get out of the way. Sable hot on the tail of Shade. The Shade brothers, the Shade tandem, if you will. The 35 and 38 cars. Let's see into the double left-hander. Sable's going to be desperate to find some pace and get past the guys. Forbes just pulling right off to the side, having a little adventure with the grass. Make sure it's all been cut and trimmed properly. Let's see now. Heading towards the drop, I believe. Sable just going to be a couple of tenths back. Not quite close enough to make that move happen on Shade. 10 minutes to go in the race, folks. Sosa leading Mirsky, leading Ruiz, leading the Shades, leading Sable, leading Benedict, leading third, leading Couch. Behind them, Faluna, Bruce Lee, Sierra, Riders, Carbassi, Banfi, Alves, Ginks, Jay Warren all the way down to P18. K. Portis also down pretty far to P19. Wolf, Blumauer, Lopez, and Forbes, though I do believe some of these cars may need to pit again, so never say never, folks. The Shade brothers, you can see them just slipstreaming one another, staying right in line with a good strategy. Bit of a coordinated ballet up here almost. He's going to have a look up the inside as the peace treaty off, it might seem. That number 421 car marked Bentley. Into the double left. Ooh, a little awkward through there, and that will let Sable go right on through. Almost. Looks like Sable's backed out of it. That might have been the opportunity, folks. There is not a lot of racing left to do here. There's your intervals, folks. This is one of the closest on-track battles at the moment, so we will stick with these guys. Sable really kind of starting to struggle. Like I said, those Porsche's rear tires will get nice and mincy in the later stages of this race. All of that accelerating in and out of these corners is going to chew them up and spit them out. Lewis Hamilton would not be having a good time, folks. That's all I got to say about that. Looking down the rest of our field, we got Blumauer being chased, I don't believe by anyone. Like Benedict and Couch. Nice little battle forming here. The Audi on the Porsche. Both very fast cars. If I had to choose, I'd probably have the R8, though. Just because Tony Stark had one. Disney, please don't sue me. Oh, I love that 007. Oh, but he's gone. He's in the barrier. Couch. He's overcooked it. Just like James Bond at the end of Casino Royale, he has sent that car well off the road. That will, unfortunately, bin his race nice and early. Shade and Company still, well, doing exactly what they were doing before. Saving fuel, saving tires. All in all, just a good time up the front. Folks, if you're just joining us, this is Pole Position Racing for our Assetto Corsa Competizione coverage. Live from Brands Hatch. 2 sprint races today, folks. Already about 3/4 of the way through the first one. It's been a very titillating time. Seen a lot of good overtaking, a lot of interesting strategy choices, even a couple of pileups early on. But I gotta say, this game does pop, and I'm a big fan. Just looking at this is kind of like it's visually pleasing. Into the Pilgrim drop now. The Shade Bros still just going about their business as usual. Sable just falling right off in that Porsche. Though it does seem he's keeping pace despite the fact that he is gonna have a harder time on those tires. Have a look at our timing chart, folks. Just 1 second. There you have it. Shade's going to be the closest. Next up, the Alves and Banfi at the back there. 6 minutes to go in the race, folks. Ooh, that's going to run nice and wide there, Shade. That will let Sable gain a lot of ground now. Sable wheel to wheel with the Bentley. I think he's going to get through here. Late on the brakes. Let's see into the downhill right-hander. Sable sliding the rear end there. Now they're wheel to wheel again. Let's see, folks. We got the on board for both. Into the right-hander of Druids. Sable's just going to try to poke his nose in there. Shade tried to close the door, but it's not enough. Shade's off the track. Sable's in front. Into the next turn here. Wow. Good stuff. Shade just not got the juice to get it done. Sable's going to get through. He kept pace, and he waited for the mistake, folks, and he got what he wanted. That will promote him up to P5. Well done to the Porsche driver. Now free to chase down the other Shade. Could we see 2 Shades go down this afternoon? It's entirely possible, folks. There's still 5 minutes left to go. That's about 3-ish, 4-ish laps here at Brands Hatch. Look on board with it now. He is flying. He has got that car turned up nice and easy. He picked his moment correctly. He's got the confidence. He can get P4, hell, maybe even get a podium. We'll just have to see about it, folks. A lot of racing left to go here. Ruiz just behind. Oh, where'd Mirsky go? There he is. And Sosa. Carbassi. It seems his race has gone from great to awful. He was running the top sectors. He was leading this race for most of it. And he's kind of found himself at the back of the pack here, curiously. Not sure what that's about. But yeah, another surprise. Portis only in P17 following Jay Warren. A lot of our stronger drivers kind of at the back of the pack. That's the beauty of a sprint race. You can kind of find yourself getting these irregular results. Warren trying to chase down riders here in that Lamborghini. Certainly one of the sketchier cars you can drive, but it's got that something about that musty leather Italian horsepower that comes with owning a Lamborghini. Up the inside, Jay's going to get the move done here, I think. Yes, no problem. Right into the left-hander. Now it's a run down to Clark Curve. Riders might try to come back at him, but Portis is going to get in on the mix now. Let's see, folks. On board with Portis. Riders struggling to keep pace with Warren. Riders going to stick to the left now. Portis is going to go up the inside, using that nice slingshot effect there to his benefit. And he will want to chase down Warren as the Lamborghini of riders will concede and let him through there. Warren just trying to fly away now and get himself back into some better points-paying positions into Druids. And it looks like that Ferrari is keeping pace pretty well with the Porsche. Things are getting a little testy here at the end, folks, I gotta say. Back to our timing sheet just so we can have a quick look at what's happening. Yeah, that's going to be Alves right behind Banfi. Into the Pilgrim drop now. It's like Riders and Carbassi getting into it at the moment. Let's go on board with them. Ooh, that Lexus getting a really good run out of there. Can he poke his nose up the inside? I think he's got it. Ooh, very brave move. An excellent overtake from the Lexus driver. You love to see it. That is a brilliant move. You can take that all day, folks. I will take that all day. Warren just staying in front of Portis here. Alves, though, closing up on Banfi. Banfi right on the back of, that looks like Faluna. Ooh, here we go, folks. Down the pit straight. Banfi's going to try to go up the inside now into the downhill right-hander. What? Oh, I think Faluna's going to come right back at him and try to close the door. They're going to go side by side now. Banfi not quite getting the run he wanted into Druids. Let's see, can he hold that inside position for the hairpin? No, Faluna's going to run very wide, leaving him just leaving him the room there, though. But Banfi's momentum is shot. You'll have to think about, oh, he's going to get rear-ended there. That will scuttle his race. Banfi getting taken out by Alves. He can't even get the car straight. Or was that Warren? I couldn't quite tell, folks. But that Porsche got sent to the Shadow Realm. That will do it for his race today. I will be cursing the racing gods if I were him. Warren leading Portis with Faluna coming out on top of that whole kerfuffle there. Or a fracas, if you will. Looks like we got the Shade Sable trio coming back at it again. Sable now, just in front of the Shade Bros. He will be looking to chase down Ruiz, who I do believe is just a couple turns in front of him. Oh, you'll just excuse that camera angle, folks. Sometimes the video game doesn't account for its own cosmetic features. Shade in that 420 marked Audi. Puff, puff, pass racer. No, I'm kidding. 30 seconds to go, folks. Ginks getting it all wrong there. Mirsky and Sosa is living a nice lonely life there. Nothing to really report from the front, folks. Shade and Sable still trying to figure out their differences. Bruce Lee trying to chase down Sierra in the closing stages of this race. Checkered flag is going to be after this lap, I believe. On board now with Bruce Lee as he tries to chase down that GTR, who's just a little bit too in front of him. Oh, but Sierra's gone very wide. He's in the gravel. Oh, my goodness. That will let Bruce Lee go right on through to P9. A very, very late mistake by Sierra has cost him dearly. He was holding on so well, and he's just let the Ferrari scamper on through. All right, folks, there you have it. Sosa is your winner of this first sprint race here today. Go down the rest of the field. Just trying to find out what's happening. Look at our timetable, folks. Checkered flag. The Shades come home P5 and 6 to let Sable pip them for P4. Ruiz driving an excellent race to finish P3 in that McLaren. Mirsky in the Ferrari. Sosa in the Mercedes driving a great race. Big losers today, unfortunately, being, let's see here. If I can find the names. Carbassi in the lead of this race for a long while. Not really coming out on top. But there you have it, folks. Let me hit print screen there. I am going to take a brief intermission, folks, if you don't mind. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, folks, we are back live from the hatch. It's Besteon, and I'm here to show you a good time, folks. Second qualifying session before the second sprint race. Short and sweet today. That's how I like it. Apparently not my girlfriend. Anyway, pretty interesting first race. A little bit of mix up on the tires there. I quickly got some word from the pit lane that a lot of the pack were actually on wet weather tires for that race, which, well, doesn't take one and one together to see that that race wasn't very wet. So that did hurt a lot of races in the process, not really leaving a lot of time for recovery drives, but no fear, folks. We're back live. Let's have a look at our timetable now. Time to beat 124.2, 124.2 set by Sable in that Porsche 911. Behind them is going to be Sosa, Couch, Shade, Mursky, Ruiz, Forbes, Lopez, Blumauer, Ginks, Portis, Banfi, and Riders. Bringing up the rear there with a 128.3, so about 4 seconds worth of time to find now. Rest of the field haven't set times, probably on their flyers now. Let's go on board with somebody and see if we can't get ourselves a flying lap of Brands Hatch. So we've got Riders either on an in lap or on his flying lap. We're going to find out in just a moment here as he turns the final corner. Yes, folks, looks like we're going to see ourselves a nice N2 flyer. I'm not entirely sure. Into the downhill right-hander. Tricky bit, that turn. Easy to find yourself unseated if you are not very patient. Through Druids, down into the Graham Hill Bend, looking for the Cooper Straight and Surtees. Taking it well through there, just a touch wide, but I think he's going to have a good exit for the run down to the drop. Let's see, going right to the left side of the track. Good. Let's see, use all that hill to your advantage. Get the pedal down, braking 300, 200, 100 board right before it, turning in. Looking for Hawthorne, then Derek, and then you're going to have the triple right-hander of Westfield, Dingle, and Sheens. Uno. Here comes Dose. And the third one right here. There's Sheens. Now you're heading down to Sterling's. May as well just call it Moss Corner at this stage. Taking it very well through this. Lamborghini looking absolutely planted today. A run down clearways, looking for Clark Curve. Braking right before the 100 board, turning in, kissing that apex beautifully. Oh, he's got a little bit of oversteer there. He's caught it. That Lambo trying to murder him. Down the pit straight here, folks. Time to beat was a 124. He will set a 128. 128, that's only going to be good enough for, well, for P19, unfortunately. Let's have a look up the rest of the field. We got Sable now on an in lap, I believe. We got Shade on his flag lap, I believe. I'm not sure. One of the really fascinating aspects of GT3 is the fact that not a singular car can have the advantage at every circuit. You will see certain cars perform better at certain circuits. You know, a lot of elevation changes is probably want a car with that can corner well because you want to carry a lot of speed through these corners. You don't want to have to scrub too much off. Understeery cars can kind of be a headache at a track like this. You'll kind of want a car that'll get you where you need to go. But then again, at different tracks like Monza, it doesn't really matter that much. You're only looking for straight line speed. So cars that just have a girthy engine in the back and, fast driver at the wheel, it's kind of all they might need. But I digress. There you have it, folks. Shade's going to set a 125 there on his flyer. 4 minutes to go in the session. Car's looking real pretty today. You see the marbles out to the left there from the earlier race. Sable, your pole sitter, followed by Sosa, followed by Ruiz and Faluna. Behind them, Mirsky, Couch, Shade, Lopez, Forbes, and Portis. Behind Portis is the other Shade, Carbassi, Sierra, Bluebauer, Alves, Gakes, Bruce Lee, Banfi, Benedict, Riders, Wolf, Jay Warren. Bringing up the rear, it's going to be Blommel. Just a few more minutes to go, folks. If you're just joining us again, sorry about the earlier technical issues. We ran into a bit of a Comcast-related problem. My cable guy came out here about half a year ago to let me know that there's a surge issue in my area, specifically my house. I guess that the subcontractors they let out to do the wiring decided to kind of jerry-rig my cable, which isn't a problem. I mean, I watch Super Bowl without having any interruptions, but my internet does kind of surge sometimes, and it will cut the connection if it feels there is too much coming in, because God forbid my speed went any higher than it should. But yeah, that's what happened. We're back. Little router reset, little royalty-free music to get us through it, but we're back on track. Folks, another thing I would like to bring up, if you're interested in more action, Pole Position Racing has racing up to about 6 days a week now. Our Saturday exhibition has kind of slowed down. There's a lot of esports events happening that night, so we're trying to space ourselves out and not try to overdo it on hosting events, especially if we don't feel that we can kind of get the turnout we want. So we're going to be maybe mixing up a few things in the future. Keep an eye out for that. But our regularly scheduled programming is we've got PC D1 on Mondays, Xbox D1, D2, and D3 on Tuesdays. We got PC D2 on Wednesdays. We got our brand new PlayStation 4 League. I believe is going to have their first race this week. I'll have to confirm that later. Don't know as of yet. And then Fridays is Xbox Division 4, the League I race in, or excuse me, Division I race in. A little more casual, folks. It might not come as a surprise to you, but I tend to spend more time talking than I ever do on my Fanatec rim. So it's just a habit. I can't help it. I'm just a lazy guy. I was Mr. C student. I don't like to practice. It's just not my idea of fun. F1, on the other hand, though, I could buzz around there for hours. Something about a high downforce that really gets me going. Sable trying to reset his time, it would seem. Flying in that. Woof! Wow. 124 flat. That Porsche is flying, folks. It is flying. Sable calling his shot, especially after that wonderful drive through the pack there to fight the shades off to finish in P4. Looks like he wants a podium now. Still can't believe Bentley's got a GT3 car. That is so funny to me. Like Ferrari, McLaren, Lexus, yeah, sure, I can understand. There's a little bit of pedigree there, but like Bentley Continental's wasn't what springs to mind when I think of track toy. Let us know in the comments, folks. Is it weird that Bentley has a GT3 car, or does it just make enough sense that Bentley would have a GT3 car? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I myself, not really. But then again, I'm not a racer. I'm just a talker. Blumenauer. Nice little excursion with the wall there. Carbassi getting a nice toe from Blommel. He will want another shot at the crown here after having that abysmal drive last race. Falling from the lead all the way to the back of the pack in what seemed like a blink of an eye. Hoping to see him bounce back. Folks, next week, ACC will be back at the same time on the same platform, but we will be doing a 90-minute race at Spa-Francorchamps. And you can see that Lexus. Whoa! Psych! That looks to be Carbassi inviting himself to the Shadow Realm. See if I can't find him. Has he had to retire from the session as a result of that? Oh, can't find him. There he is. There you have it, folks. Just stuck in neutral in the barrier. That looks to be qualifying over for our friend in the Lexus. We'll be reforming for the race in just a moment here, folks. Your qualifying order so far. Looks like Sable's going to take pole, barring any last-minute changes. Behind him will be Portis and Sosa. Two of our fastest drivers. Behind them, Faluna as well. Mirsky, Ruiz, Sierra, Couch, Shade, Lopez. Behind them, Forbes, Shade, Carbassi, Banfi, Warren, Blumenauer, Alves, Blommel, Bruce Lee, Benedict, Ginks, Riders, and Wolf. Wolf bringing up the rear in that purple GTR of his. One of the prettiest cars on the grid, I might say. Folks, racing is one thing, looks are a whole nother, and I'm a big fan of good-looking cars. Sable just doing this for kicks, it would seem. Session has ended. We are going to take just a brief intermission here while everyone forms up for the second sprint race, folks. Just one moment. Play a little royalty-free music for you, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, folks, we are back live now, ready to get underway. Sable leading Portis, leading Sosa here live from Brands Hatch. Just a moment to go now. Green lights, we're underway now, folks. Let's get a good view here. 3 wide into turn 1. That's the Mercedes of Sosa trying to slipstream the Porsche there. They're going to go Mardi Gras Racing, trying to go around the outside there. Let's see if the Ferrari can't get a better exit through there. Looking down the rest of the field. Oh, and it's a 3-way pileup. Faluna's off. He's wide. Portis is through. Sosa bringing up behind. There's another 3 cars there being led by Ruiz. Ruiz getting into it now. That's the purple Faluna. Ooh, that's a McLaren off the track. Mursky having a little adventure with the barriers there. Banfi making his way through the field now. Looking up the rest of the pack. Nice little bunch up here. Ooh, careful. It's crowded, folks. Sierra Schumacher chopping, and he's into the barrier. That will be a disastrous start to this race. Warren, oh my God, I'd hate to be looking at his rearview mirrors. My pants would be turning a shade of brown if I saw that many cars behind me. Being led by Shade. Warren seeing all that action behind him. Ruiz just in front now. Excuse me, folks. Quick little visual update for you there. No battle quite at the front happening yet. Warren was leading his big pack. The Shade brothers getting back into it. Warren's gone wide. Oh, through the right-hander. He's gotten back on the track, and that has killed his momentum. And look at that, dirty tires. Both Shades are going to go through. Alves now going to try to get in on the mix, seeing the stricken Porsche. Well done by the Shade Brothers to pounce on that miscue. Alves now sizing him up, but Banfi, Lopez, and Couch are going to be thinking to themselves where they can get in on the action here. You can see now Alves already slipstreaming that Porsche. He is gaining, however slightly it might be, he is gaining. Alves now down the Pilgrim drop into the right-hander. Right on the tail of that Porsche. Can't really go too wide through there. Warren's going to go shallow. Alves is going to try to get a wider line through there, maybe get a better run through the downhill portion. No, and it's not to be, through the triple right-hander here. Through Sheens now, looking up to Moss Corner. It's a drag race now, folks. Banfi in front of Alves. Warren leading them. Shade Brothers back at it again, slipstreaming one another. Ruiz, though, looks like he's gaining on Brian Faluna. Excuse the angle, folks. Just trying to get back to the cockpit cam. Unless you guys like the chase cam, let me know in the comments. I'm open to anything. There's a lot of cool ways to do these broadcasts here. McLaren v Porsche, Germany v England. Talk about tale as old as time. Wonder who will come out on top in that battle. Let's take a quick look at our timing table, folks. Closest battle on track looks to be Banfi and Alves, as well as Couch. So let's ride on board with the midfield now and see what's happening there. Lopez hot on the tail of Alves. That's a mouthful. Into the right-hander. Ooh, someone's gone wide up ahead. Is that Jay Warren's gone wide? Banfi's gone through. As twice Warren's had a bit of an excursion with the runoff today, and that will cost him dearly now, as Alves has got him right in his crosshairs. Down the pit straight. Getting that Audi power down. German car maker on German car maker into the right-hander. Careful to get this corner right. Got to brake in a straight line in these cars. It is very crucial to not try to turn while you're braking. You will wind up having a picnic with one of the spectators. Warren, though, ooh, taking it real shallow through there. He's just trying to come back at Banfi now. Into the double left-hander. That is Alves so close to the back. This is probably the closest foursome I got our eyes on, folks. Versky and Benedict may be going at it in the midfield, but nothing quite as close as what we've got here up in the upper midfield as it is. The upper mezzanine, perhaps, is a better word. Warren slipstreaming Banfi really well there into Druids. They're close, but not close enough. He will have to back out of that one and think twice. Go on board now with the lead of the pack. It's nice and quiet up there. The Shade Brothers not kind of minding their own business. Ruiz, ooh, he's almost lost it, and he spun. Ruiz has lost it on the triple right-hander. Done well to get himself out of the way of the oncoming cars. Very good sportsmanship by the McLaren driver. Very unfortunate for his race, but he has saved a couple of lives in the process. So a very big hats off to him. Okay, cool. Everything's still working. Sorry, folks. OBS can be fickle sometimes. Sosa, Portis. Oh, this is the battle we were waiting for today, folks. Finally, we can see our championship contenders going at it here. But Faluna is not going to let them ride off into the sunset quite yet. He wants to keep them honest, as it were. They can now focus either on fighting him or fighting each other, and I'm sure he's hoping they just start clawing away at one another. Portis leading Sosa. Sosa having a look. Nothing really going there. Let's go now to the chase cams, as they were. That Mercedes and Ferrari, well, a classic combination in any motorsport, it would seem, chasing one another down. It's almost like the Green Lantern chasing the Incredible Hulk with, who's the purple person from X-Men? I don't remember. Was it Storm? My comic books are all over the place today, folks. I apologize. I'll try to stick to race cars. Sosa hot on the tail now. Can he close that gap? Just a few more corners here. Into Moss. Can't really run too wide through there. But now, Clark Curve coming up. Let's see. Who's going to be brave? Braking right after the 100 board. Ooh, he might have overcooked it just a touch, but he's brought it back in. Sosa looking for the traction now. Portis a little slower through there, and Faluna getting left in the dust. Portis sticking to the right, going very defensive now, going back to the racing line for the right-hander. Let's see. Sosa going to have a look up the inside. No, not close enough. Down to the downhill right-hander. Portis still staying just in front, folks. It is brewing. It is very much brewing at the front of the pack here. Brian now coming up. Oh, you can see that purple car right in the rearview mirror. Sosa is going to be feeling a tickle run down his spine. He's got a car in front that won't let him by and a car behind who needs to get in front. Folks, it's like a DMV queue, but in the worst way possible. Because you're surrounded. Kind of sick because you got a Porsche driver behind you. I kid. Sosa's still hot on the trail here. Hear that bi-turbo V8 speeding up. A drive-through penalty for car number 21 for Blumauer. Oof, very unfortunate. That will put in a very early end to his race, unfortunately. Doubt we'll be hearing much from him later as the day goes on. Portis, Sosa, and Faluna still battling at the front here. Brian kind of struggling to keep pace with these two. Portis now, let's see. He's going to go defensive again, pull into the right. Can Sosa get the slingshot round the outside? Let's see. It's not going to be enough. Tucking back into the slipstream for the downhill right-hander. Let's see, folks. Will Sosa cut back at him here? No, he's going to stay tucked in right behind. Looking for a better exit. Oh, they're almost wheel-to-wheel now into Druids. Let's see, folks. Portis is just going to hold that inside line. Sosa's going to try to rotate that girthy Mercedes. Nothing really going there. That thick boy is going to need just a touch more touch to get past the Ferrari. Portis running a touch wide there on the exit. Sosa, though, is going to get a really good run. He's going to have a look down the inside. Nothing really going there. Portis blocking him off yet again, but Sosa taking another shallow line there. All the while, Faluna's getting into the mix. I think that Porsche is going to have a look at the Mercedes here quite soon. Down to the drop. Sosa having to cover him off. Faluna's going to try to go up the inside. Not enough. Not close enough. Try to go late on the brakes. Having a peek. It's not happening. Sosa trying to decide, should he defend? Should he attack? Or should he just drive the car? These are the decisions going through the number 22 car's mind as we speak. Portis still just staying in front, but he knows that one wrong move and one of these two cars will slide right by. If not both, but Brian's run wide. He's into the gravel. That will undo all the good work he'd put in this race. Sosa now can chase down Portis without having to worry about being punted from behind. Not to say that you would do that, Brian. I know you're a good guy. Sosa, Portis. Into the Clark curve. One more go at it here. Let's see. Portis is going to go to the left this time. But there's a car exiting the pits. That's Blumauer going very slowly. Both drivers slamming on the brakes there to avoid a collision with a back marker. Brian back in the mix, though. He's made up a lot of time here. And that looked to me like there was a car running a touch wide back there. Sosa's still trying to close up. Sorry, folks, just spacing out for a moment there. 12 minutes to go in this race. We got a couple of cars into the pits. Let's see. We got Wolf into the pits right now. Probably some others will start to be thinking about those tires. You can see Lopez has been grinding through them in that Bentley Continental. Is it a Lincoln Continental? Bentley Continental? I don't know. Into Moss. Sosa still just tucked in behind. I think Portis might have pulled out a touch of a gap there. Let's look down the rest of the field now, folks. That is Faluna and the back marker, Blumauer. Shade Brothers, of course, attached at the hip. Banfi, Warren, and Couch. A little gaggle of German cars here. Couch bringing up the rear now. Let's go on board with him as he's trying to chase down the two Porsche drivers in front. Ooh, Warren's going to take a bit of a awkward line through there. Same with Banfi. Banfi getting it all wrong, getting a very weird exit, it seemed. Jay's going to try to pounce on him. Let's go on board with the Porsche. Let's see, tucked in right behind, into the drop. Oh, my God, we're going to go side by side now, carrying a lot of speed into this braking zone. It's going to be a tight one, folks. Warren trying to go around the outside, do his best Max Verstappen impression. Instead, he's going to paint his tires brown. But again, round the outside, even with the dirty tires. Well done to Jay Warren into that 66 numbered Porsche. Wow, he has pulled off an incredible move there. Banfi got to be scratching his head how that was even possible. Meanwhile, Couch looking at Banfi and thinking to himself, I like them when they're vulnerable, as Daniel Ricciardo likes to say. Into the Clark curve. Careful now, everyone, nice and easy. Banfi not opting to pit. He's going to stay out. Couch trying to get a good run here. Banfi pulling to the left from the right. Couch tucked in right behind. Everyone braking nice and early since they're in the slipstream, not wanting to overshoot it. Warren starting to pull away from Banfi here. Banfi just trying to keep them behind into Druids, dropping that car down into first gear. Let's see. It is close, folks. Into the double left coming up. Let's see. On the power. Ooh, touch of oversteer. Couch has saved it. It might have undone a lot of his hard work. Banfi, on the other hand, having a look at Jay Warren, maybe? We'll check back later. Oh, and Alves has got that one all wrong. Lopez will go flying up the inside. Same with Ruiz. Nice and quiet at the back of the field here, folks. On board our leader, Sable. Very quietly, just kind of scooting away with this one. Portis and Sosa going back at it, though, folks. We came back to this battle just in time. Side by side now into the right-hander. Ooh, there's a little bit of contact there. Portis just staying in front through the Clark curve. Sosa, though, is sizing him up. Let's go on board now with Sosa. It's gearbox to front, bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel now into the right-hander. Oh, he's going to go late on the brakes, but he spun. Oh, he's got it all wrong. Oh, it's so crucial to brake in a straight line. That was a greedy move at best with a poor result at worst. And, folks, he has come off way worse, but the gap is still only less than a second. Hopefully he'll have to work back some of that time. Faluna now getting into it with the Shade Brothers. These two just love to be singling out other cars, especially Porsches. Faluna now in a bit of a shady sandwich, as it were. Heading into the left-hander. Brian's car looks to have taken quite a bit of damage earlier in this race. Purely superficial, though, it would seem, as he's keeping pace pretty well. Shade, though, is going to be sizing him up into the Pilgrim drop. Faluna doing well just to park on the apex there. Unfortunately, though, he will be letting the other Shade start to crawl away now. Always so tricky to consider your risk versus reward about defending versus attacking. Unfortunately, if you get frustrated like myself, you kind of turn your defending into a bit of a hapless effort and find yourself on the back foot. But let's hope that's not the case. Oh my God, they are so close now. Faluna taking the inside line here. Shade's going to try to go around the outside. Let's see if he can get back to the slipstream. Trying to slingshot now. Faluna keeping that inside line. Let's see. I think Shade's got the move done. Wheel to wheel now into the right-hander. Shade just poking around in front. But Faluna's going to come back down the inside, and he'll have to tuck back in, folks. The Shade brothers have finally gotten the best of a Porsche today, folks. They have got to be giving themselves a nice big pat on the back. Well done. Sosa now closing back up to Portis. The battle for second has been hot all afternoon here. 7 minutes to go in this race, folks. Sprint racing is quite a joy, isn't it? Sosa short shifting there just a touch, I think, trying to save some fuel. Letting it rev high and forth, dropping it down to third for the right-hander. Taking a nice, clean line through there. Portis just staying a touch in front. Down for the triple right-hander. Ooh, Mercedes getting a little wide. Into Moss. Good to follow closely now. I think he may have gotten the run he needed, and he's got the distance. Let's see, pit straight time. Clark curve turning in. Portis going well through there. Sosa running a touch wide, but he's still in that stream. Let's see, Portis is going to stick to the right-hand side here. No surprise there. Back to the racing line soon. Yep, there it is. Breaking right about the 200 mark. Oh, I'm trying to go up the inside, trying to sell him the dummy. Sosa's trying to do it again, folks. This time up the inside, and it's not worked. Into Druid. Portis is going to stay just in front. Oh, man, that Mercedes driver, he is starting to get frustrated. I could only imagine. He's tried the inside. He's tried the outside. He's even tried selling him the dummy. But he just can't close up. Maybe it's the nature of his car. That Mercedes really heavy at the front. Does make it difficult to rotate. Portis parking right on the apex. Touch of contact there. No worries. Rubbin's racing, folks. These are GT3 cars. Sosa using that bump draft to his advantage, though, into the Pilgrim drop. Let's see, can he close any distance now into the right-hander? Not quite. He's still just stuck a little far behind as they run through Minter down to Westfield and Dingle Dell. He is so close. My goodness. I don't see how he can't get past at some point. Sosa having a look there. Nothing going. Oh, but now he's got it. He's up the inside through the right-hander. He sent Portis into the runoff. That might go to the stewards, folks. Sosa with a, well, no way to put it, went for a gap that was disappearing, folks. Ayrton Senna might have taken his hat off for that one. He has cost Portis dearly, though. That will be in incident reports later, I am sure of it. Sosa now leading Portis. Bruce Lee hot behind the Shade Brothers. Not having to worry. Faluna, unfortunately, coming off worse in this race. I wonder if he will be thinking about pitting soon. No, he won't. Blumauer not even racing him. Banfi racing him instead. Blumauer doing well just to get out of the way. Not have to worry about it. Lorenzo. I love the way that crow pops. It is so pretty. Let's look down the rest of the order, folks. Lopez and Couch, maybe. Let's have a look at this. Hood view here, folks. Let's try something different. Into the right-hander. Couch just staying to touch in front. Time for the triple. Is this the triple righty? I believe it is. It's Westfield heading down to Dingle. Keep an eye out for Sheens up here on the right-hand side. Nice. Couch is taking that well. We got a car in the dirt, it would seem, or a car was in the dirt. Dirt being thrown up all over the place. Through Moss. Couch taking an interesting line through there. Down to the pit straight. Let's see. Late on the brakes for this Bentley. He's not able to close up, though. That Bentley not that fast through the corners, it would seem. Kind of built like a brick, you-know-what house. Banfi still just trying to chase down Faluna. Faluna going a little wide there. Faluna and Banfi here keeping it close. Looks like Banffy doesn't really want to fight, neither does Brian. They're just kind of thinking about the big picture, maybe. 2 minutes to go in this race, folks. Probably about 2 more laps around the hatch. And that'll do it. Ooh, that's a car off in the gravel. Portis looks like he's caught back up to Sosa here. Maybe you want to return the favor later in this race. Sable out in front, no one around. Just having himself a nice Sunday drive. Portis just trying to catch up here. Gap looks like it's about over a second, I'd say, at that distance. Not really close enough to do anything about it. All he can do right now is just put in a couple of good lap times and hope he can pip him at the end, or hope for a mistake. Who knows? Maybe Sosa will be a gentleman and just pull to the side. Last lap of the race, folks. Here we go. Ruiz and Alves in a bit of a close one, huh? Down the pit straight now. End of the race, folks. Leader should be turning the final corner any minute now. There you have it, folks. Congratulations to Sable for winning today's sprint race after climbing back to P4 in the first one. That's a 1-4 for him. Certainly a nice bag of points to take home. I'm not sure if they split the points for today or if they give them full points for each race. That is up to our glorious leaders. Unfortunately, I am just the commentator, folks. I don't have as much say in the affairs of scoring and whatnot. But there you have it, folks. Most of the battles kind of fizzled out there in the middle. Your finishing order is going to be Sable, Sosa, Portis, Shade, Banffy, Couch, Lopez, Faluna, and Ruiz. Behind them will be Alves, Warren, Mirsky, third, Benedict, Riders, Sierra, Ginks, Forbes, and bringing up the rear is going to be Bloom Hour. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to have you back out here. Same time, same place next Sunday. We will be taking a look at Spa. Personally, one of my favorite tracks to watch. It's just a great place. It produces a lot of excellent racing, and I don't see why next week should be the exception. Thanks again. Check us out. I'm your host, Best Teon, and as always, stay classy.